I'm DJ Toro. Join me every Monday to Thursday, 7 until midnight. The premium classics on Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Tonight, goodbye Air Pacific and welcome Fiji Airways. Emotions run high as families and friends farewell soldiers to the Golan Heights. And early days yet, acting Fijian Prime Minister speaks of new Australian leadership and relations with Fiji. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spade and you're watching FBC News. As of today, Fiji Airways has proudly taken to the skies, boasting its new name and saying goodbye to Air Pacific, beginning a new journey. The rebranding last night has launched the company into the future with a modernized fleet and patriotically carrying the nation's name around the globe. Christopher Chand reports.
It's the moment the national carrier has waited for over a year, flipping the switch to Fiji Airways. It's a new and exciting chapter for the airline, which has a proud 62-year history.
Our research revealed that our name Air Pacific was perhaps not working as hard as it could be to grow our airline. In adopting the name Fiji Airways from tomorrow, we are joining other airlines that fly under their own country's banner, such as Air New Zealand, Air France.
With the new brand comes a list of new changes. Including new uniforms, which complement the Masi designs on the planes.
Our new uniforms are part of the very fabric of our new identity. As with the aircraft, they are inspired by the natural beauty of Fiji and the warmth of her people.
But there remain many challenges, even as we celebrate a new beginning.
You have to be aware and cognizant of the challenges around the corner. Things like fuel prices affect your operational costs and indeed affects your bottom line at the end of the day. But there are other airlines that are always looking to do the same too. So we have to ensure that Fiji Airways stays on top of things.
The final act of the night, toasting to the recent success and hoping the company too can shoot for the stars. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
And silver wasn't to be left out of the occasion. Fiji Airways organized a parade through the capital city to get members of the public and the business community involved. In celebrations led by Miss World Fiji, Karine Erbsleben, and media personalities from the Fiji Broadcasting Corporation, the airline paraded its new name and banner in the heart of the city. The march caught the attention of people on the streets as well as those in office buildings. Celebrations continued at the iconic EV Triangle where prizes were given away. Soldiers bound for the Golan Heights in Syria departed Nadi Airport this morning at around 10 a.m. after an 11-hour delay. It was an emotional farewell for relatives who braved not only the rain, but the long hours to see their loved ones for the last time before they headed for the Israel-Syria border. Christopher Chand with this story.
No one can imagine what these families must be going through. This soldier saying his final goodbyes, only a fence preventing him from getting one last hug. Tears flowed freely as the contingent left for war-torn Syria on the other side of the world.
It's very emotional for us to see them go for peacekeeping duties for 1 year.
Relatives had been waiting patiently for hours. The Euro-Atlantic aircraft, chartered to take them for peacekeeping duties, was originally scheduled to depart at 11 last night.
A very long wait and we're exhausted, but it's worth it to see our husbands, our relatives, our fathers to go and do duties in Syria.
I started work from this morning at 6 a.m. but managed to see off my husband early this morning before leaving the country around about 10 today.
As the soldiers marched down to board the aircraft, one could easily sense the emotion in the atmosphere.
We knew that he was going to Syria. I started praying and asking all my friends on Facebook with their prayers, and especially the viewers out there and my families to pray for him.
With the final wave, these officers have left to protect and uphold peace far away from home for the next 12 months. Families will now count down the days when they will be here again to welcome their loved ones. Until then, it's prayers for everyone to keep their fathers, sons, mothers and sisters safe. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
Acting Prime Minister Ayasaid Qayyum says it's too early to comment on whether Fiji can open new doors for dialogue with Australia, following Kevin Rudd's shock return to lead the Labour Party yesterday. Rudd ousted Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard in a leadership ballot for the Labour Party in Canberra yesterday.
In 2007, the Australian people elected me to be their Prime Minister. That is a task that I resume today with humility, with honour, and with an important sense of energy and purpose.
Said Qayyum says it's obvious that Australia is in some form of political limbo.
I think it's too early to comment. They're obviously in some form of political limbo. We just heard about it about an hour ago, and I'm sure they're going through their own political machinations, and we'll leave them to their own devices.
A father of two has been jailed for 7 years by the Lautoka High Court for rape. Leon Marcel Conibert from Nandi was found guilty of rape by Judge Justice De Silva today. The court heard Conibert raped the woman in Nandi in July 2011. While sentencing, Judge De Silva said the maximum punishment for rape in the crimes decree is life imprisonment, as it is a serious offence. Conibert has a 5-year non-parole period. One of Fiji's greatest challenges is the size of its domestic market. With a total population of more than 850,000 people, there are limited markets for goods and services, which in turn affects the labour market. Akusita Tale has more.
With close to 1 million people buying goods and services within the country, the demand is limited to a few sectors only. However, with the recent new trade agreements between the MSG countries, hopes are high that new sectors will emerge, resulting in new employment opportunities.
Now that we're going to be part of the Malaysian Spearhead Group, that means the size of our domestic market rises from 850,000 to 8 million. There's 8 million people now, when this MSG works, that will be available to provide demand for our goods and services. So that is going to be a great opportunity for us.
The 3 major local universities have produced many highly skilled graduates, but the current job markets did not meet their needs. Chone Usamati says this has prompted the government to look for jobs offshore.
We in the ministry cannot do it alone. We need to be able to work in partnership with everybody else so that we can identify opportunities for our people and make sure we can place them in different kinds of jobs so that they are not put at risk.
The Labour Ministry now has set themselves a new challenge to look at innovative job markets which are decent.
It's not just about work in Fiji, it should be also about work offshore. If somebody goes and works in Papua New Guinea, that person must be entitled to decent and productive work there. We don't want him to be exploited there, and he's not exploited here.
Fiji residents are already working in the United Arab Emirates, deployed on peacekeeping missions overseas, while others are professional sportspersons. Akusita Tale, FBC News.
In the news ahead, using waste material for art.
I wake up in the morning, I prefer to go down to the gym, get a bit of physical work done. Also, later on in the day, I decide to go through for meditation. I do a bit of reading to find out what the latest songs are, a bit of research. And for me, it's all about the listeners.
Hey, what's up? I'm Rio, and this is the Traffic Jam every weekday from 3 o'clock to 7, only on Today FM. Today's hit music. What's up?
Nisambulo binaka oya wone kamanalangi oni nandorungo diao mai na diwa kina rua na bisinga mai na moniti kina bakarumbu kai na Radio Fiji wana ndoma ibiti bongani bianyano nama katalangana bengo na sasibiani na tinna kaloko na bembongi ni bukilulu kena bima mani walu na bembongi ni bakaruwai mai na mbuza ni balu ni ngai namaka.
Welcome back. You're watching FBC News. The Ministry of Youth and Sport seems to be finding it difficult to reach youths in rural communities. The ministry says it's these youths who need their assistance for their future development and welfare. Mika Longa reports the ministry is looking at where it might have gone wrong in its efforts.
The Ministry of Youth and Sports have conducted numerous trainings for youths, and the question is, where are they all heading to?
That's a very good question.
The ministry has stepped up its efforts to reach every youth in the country, particularly those in the rural who it says are difficult to get.
That is what we are doing. We are going out to the youth groups and we are telling them that after this program there will be assistance going. So if they don't come to the training, that means they will not be part of that assistance.
The ministry admits it also needs to reach out more to communities and meet youths and follow up on programs.
The thing that we are lacking is the monitoring. So when we came in as a ministry last year, I emphasized, I put in a lot of emphasis in monitoring and evaluation, to evaluate our programs, to see the effectiveness, the impact of our training programs, and we do reach out. I told my staff, you go out, you have to go out.
Ministry of Youth officials will meet at Nandavi the next 2 days to review the ministry's performance and plan for new programs and initiatives for the 300,000 youths, most of whom are unemployed. Mikalonga, FBC News.
Kinisi Mary Singh was a happy and relieved woman after her husband, Sandeep Singh, was cleared of charges laid against him today. Sandeep was charged for allegedly robbing a businessman at Wainandoi in Navua last month. He appeared before Magistrate Alipate Mataitini this morning, where his lawyer Gavin O'Driscoll told the court that there was no real evidence in the case against his client. The court then dismissed the case.
It's a big relief to our family, especially the name has been cleared now, and we are happy that at last we are over with this case.
Singh and 5 others were facing charges ranging from conspiracy to commit felony, aggravated robbery, theft of motor vehicle, driving a motor vehicle without a valid driving license, and possession of firearms without a license. A large crowd gathered at Suva's MHCC today for an exhibition with a difference by the Indonesian embassy. While entertainment was a huge part of today's exhibition launch, the exhibition is mainly to showcase Indonesian products, most of which are made from waste materials. Ambassador Chandra Salim says Fijians have a lot to learn about these products, and he is encouraging the use of waste material for art and handicraft.
They can look what Indonesia offers, especially in business and trade. There are so many Indonesian products already here in Fiji, but they don't know that they come from Indonesia. And we would like to introduce to them, telling them that the products are here, is made of Indonesia. But of course there are new products coming.
Jamie joins us now with sports and an update from our Sevens camp in Moscow.
Good evening, that's right. After the break, we get an update from Moscow now that Tomas Sidamas Sr. has joined our squad. Also coming up, Fiji's delegation to the Pacific Mini Games was also named today. Details after the break.
Bola, oya wasala bilawa. Do pata kia o mena diwa kina tini karona kaloko na single level ni moniti kina vakarumbuka. Kako ni valata na no musini sari na kaisa moriando loloma leone vani ni nau om gori ke de mena diwa kina tini karona kaloko na single level ni moniti kina vakarumbuka ena Bula FM number 2 ena sere.
जहाँ हो प्यार का बसेरा और रिश्तों की खुशबू, वो है आपका अपना घर संसार. Join me on Ghar Sansar, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. only on Radio Fiji 2.
Welcome back here with FBC Sports. A day remains before the Rugby World Cup Sevens in Moscow gets underway, and our national teams are already feeling the pressure. FBC commentator Graham Eden is in Russia and says with Tomas Sidamas Sr. back in the mix, it's a definite wake-up call for the team.
Tomasi's comment to me was that he didn't realise they weren't fit enough. He said again the same sort of thing as he had said for Hong Kong. He was surprised that they hadn't reached the height of fitness that he expected them to have, and he gave them a real through, run through. That was his own comments. He was also concerned that they didn't seem to have a lot by way of tactical play, and he has attempted to instill that with them. Now, the boys spoke to me after they came back from training session and said to me that, wow, what a hard session that was. But as Georgie Rangamati said to me, that's what we needed. I think that we're probably running jet lag off, and I think the effect of that is that we have a core group in the team that are, well, they're all rearing to go, but I think we'll be dependent on the core grouping of the team, and much will depend upon the timing of substitutes in the course of the day. And I've actually suggested to Tom Varma that he might observe what happens and what is the need and when is the need to put substitutes onto the field. Realistically, I think we've got the makeup, even if I don't think it's the best makeup that was available at home, but we do have a makeup of core players, and they will be doing lots of hard work over the many games that they're going to play to reach the final of the World Cup here. Their determination is with them, their intention is good, their attitude is fine, and they're feared by many others.
Well, if the pressure of the Rugby World Cup itself wasn't enough for participating teams, the venue of the meet, Luzhniki, is also Russia's biggest stadium and seats over 89,000 spectators.
I know this will be a bigger crowd on this weekend, so that will be different for the RB series. This is a World Cup. We don't want to confuse ourselves with supporters and the crowd. We just want to concentrate on the games.
Fiji's first pool game is against Tonga on Saturday morning. The Suva Football Association is looking at suspending players who broke camp during the Vodafone Fiji Fact in Nandi last Saturday. Samuel Avula, Rabanesh Karan Singh, Semi Rokongitha and Leonin Damundamu are alleged to have been involved in a drinking spree after the semi-final loss to Nandi. Shalvin Chand has more.
Suva President Mahendra Prasad said such action will not be condoned as the team is answerable to the people of Suva.
Definitely we're looking at suspending these players and also fine, and that depends on the disciplinary committee. On Wednesday we'll meet again and we'll ask the players to come up with the what went wrong and why you did all this.
Prasad says the association spent time and money in taking these players down to Nandi.
This is we cannot take lightly because as a president this is the first time happened within 5 years. So I do not expect this thing to repeat. If I do not take a harsh punishment given to the players, I do understand this thing will be repeated.
The message from the Suva camp is simple. Indiscipline will not be tolerated.
I think the boys didn't obey the rules, regulations set by Suva Football Associations, the camp rule there, and they broke the camp rule and they drink. And this attitude of 5 players will be not tolerated.
It is alleged Rokongitha was one of the worst offenders. He was spotted at a beer parlour at Prince Charles Park while Suva was playing Rewa, and he was named on the reserve bench. The players will know their fate next week. Shalvin Chand, FBC Sports.
Team Fiji's athletes and officials to the Pacific Mini Games in Wallace and Fortuna were announced today. It's a strong outfit from the 8 sports involved in this year's games. However, a lack of funding has affected team numbers. Elena McDonald has more.
For sports in Fiji, particularly the minor ones, financial backing is a major hindrance when it comes to sending athletes overseas. 108 athletes and officials will represent Team Fiji to this year's mini games. While it's a smaller team compared to that went to the Cook Islands in 2009, medal prospects are high.
All the teams are training hard and they're all going for medals, and I wouldn't signal any one of them, but the whole team sports are working hard to produce medals when we get to Wallace.
Beach volleyball, volleyball and va'a are the few sports that have opted to send either a men or women's team only. From the lot, athletics will be the biggest and youngest team going, with 25 athletes featuring Fiji finals runners Inia Sili, Francis Kirikirikula and Benaminio Maravu. While names have been released, an appeal process will need to take place.
We have an appeal process of 48 hours whereby the athletes will be appealing from each respective sports, and we have until 9 o'clock on Monday morning for the appeal to come in. And we have a separate committee, appeals committee, that will be sitting to hear the views from the athletes that are appealing for them.
The games will be held in September. Elena McDonald, FBC Sports.
First-timers to the Maras Volleyball tournament, Savu's Black Rock and Taviuni are hoping to give their more experienced opponents a run for their money. Both teams got into Suva 2 days ago, and players are calming last-minute nerves before the tournament starts tomorrow. Shelvin Chan reports.
Savu have never played in a tournament this big. The thought of going head-to-head with national reps and overseas base players is nerve-wracking.
You can tell there's a bit of nerves out there. It's the first time they're playing in a big tournament, eh? So, of course, there'll be nerves and excitement as well, yeah.
Despite the odds stacked against them, the Northerners are hoping to make it into the eliminations.
Volleyball at the moment in Savu is a bit slow. Yeah, it's hard to get the major sponsorship to run the Volleyball Association.
For Taviuni, it's also about making a name for themselves as they hope to be regulars at the Maris tournament.
We just have a competition last week Saturday. Then our coach is sitting right here, and we just call us to come and play volleyball for the Maris tournament.
While the two northern teams are here for competition, they both are hoping to have more such tournaments in Vanuatu. Shalvin Chand, FBC Sports.
That is your Thursday night sports. It's back to Jackie now for business.
Unemployed locals who are looking for work overseas now have more opportunities to pick from. Job offers in Papua New Guinea have opened up through recruiting company Thrive International and a training provider Ops Pacific. Epeli Tokoasa reports the main target is those in rural areas.
The two companies want to recruit people for work overseas, especially in PNG. But a major drawback is the lack of skill, contrary to what the government has set out as a requirement for such recruitments.
One of which is before we're able to send the people whom we have recruited overseas, whichever part of the world, they should be internationally certified. They should hold certificate, which is internationally recognized.
An agreement was made between Thrive International and Ops Pacific, a company specializing in mining training and based in countries around the world. Ops is willing to assist those who don't have the money but want to get trained.
Finance education, and also find jobs for them. And when they go and start working, then they can repay the loan.
Ops claims that their accreditation is highly recognized by mining companies around the world.
Go to the international stage and want to work for multinational companies, they're looking for the international accreditation. So when you add the NIBOSH accreditation to your existing national accreditation, you now have international recognition.
The two companies want to work together to facilitate the agreement made by the government of Fiji and PNG about employment in the mining sector. Epeli Tuguasa, FBC News.
That time again. So Jen, what's the latest?
Well, Jackie, the latest is that it was an all-round sunny day for the West. It rained in Suva, Savu and Lambasa, and from what I saw here in the capital today, the rain didn't stop people from attending the Fiji Airways celebrations. Nandi, Lautoka and Ba had the highest temperature today, 30 degrees. Lambasa was at 26. Now, our social club here at FBC has planned a mini Olympics tomorrow. But let's see how that turns out, considering clouds and showers have been forecast throughout the country. Tonight's photo is a little different from ones we featured before. This was taken in the interior of BT Level by Tom Cook from Nandrau Village. You can see the fog creeping onto Nandrau, where temperatures have been in the low 20s. Pinaka Tom, and we hope you're all keeping warm. That's weather, and until the next photo, stay safe, stay fulfilled, and stay smiling.
Thanks so much for that, Genevieve. And a quick look at the headlines again. Goodbye Air Pacific and welcome Fiji Airways. National Airline launches a new name. Emotions run high as families and friends farewell soldiers to the Golan Heights. And Acting Prime Minister Ayeside Qayyum says it's too early to speak on Fiji-Australia relationship with Rudd taking over the reins from Julia Gillard. To the poll question now, and we ask, does Fiji Sevens have the right combination for the Rugby World Cup? To take part, visit www.fbc.com.fj. Remember to send us newsworthy pictures and videos. Email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj. Until tomorrow, stay safe and good night.
आपकी शादी होने वाली है, 5 बच्चे होंगे। 5 हाय, मैं हूँ आपकी सहेली वेनू। सुनते रहिए मिर्च एफएम। मैं हूँ ना 9 से 12 बजे तक।